listening to the Announcer's Table with Daryl and Ian. This podcast is presented by ringicon.com, the social networking site for wrestlers, fans, promoters, and everything indie wrestling. Log on today and create your profile, and as always, enjoy the show.
Hey guys, it is Monday, so it is Promotion Builder today. So what are we talking about, Daryl?
Well, that's Ian.
Oh, I'm Ian. This is Daryl, and this is the Announcer's Table presented by ringicon.com.
Today, we're talking about rebranding.
Yes.
So,
what does that mean, Daryl? Rebranding.
Well,
we've talked about branding before.
Yeah. Rebranding is, we'll give an example as far as like, say you're a new promoter and you just took over a promotion that kind of has a bad rep. You want to change the name, change some things around, kind of get away from the old stigma of what that name, of that other name held. If you're, a curtain promoter and your show's starting to get a bad reputation, or you want to just kind of change things up and go in a different direction, don't be afraid to rebrand yourself. Right. Just kind of, put some fillers out, kind of see what's going on. And if your show's known more for hardcore type-ish stuff, you're not, and you want to go more family stuff, you might want to change things up a little bit and rebrand it, because right now, and you'll see in a lot of independent shows, they're all family-oriented. You get those shows every now and then that are, all about the hardcore and just, and the blood and the language and stuff like that. Well, they're not drawing very well.
Not in the South.
No, not in the South. Not at all.
In the South, it doesn't go over very well. You'll have your good fans, but then you'll have it might get to a point where it's great, and then it might go down again. But that's where you can think about a new direction for the organization.
Absolutely.
So basically, what rebranding could mean is you could change the whole name of the organization. That's a possibility. You might have too much at stake, changing the whole name. But if you don't want to change the whole name, which I would actually suggest when you do a whole rebrand, is to change the name, and if you want to step completely away from where you're at. But if you don't want to go that far with the rebranding, you can always do a whole new logo redesign, so that people see your organization in a new way. Also, rebranding, I like to think of it as when a fan steps through the door, that they see something different than what they've seen in the past. A new look for the ring, new colors, new entrance way or something. Maybe put the ring in a different spot so that people see that they're changing for the better. Yeah. Hopefully, that's what the rebranding is for, is to move in a new direction.
Yeah, so. and some rebrandings, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going from something bad to something better. It could just mean like improvement.
Right.
We was at a show, and they had a double entrance, and we thought it would be cool to make just one kind of cool entrance with a ramp, and so we rebranded in that sense, and we came up with a new design for the logo and or for the letters and everything like that, and we did a whole entrance ramp that had. Entrance where you come out of the curtain with that ramp, had a light, smoke. So that rebranding was for the better,
right?
And it showed improvement. And fans come in, they're like, "Oh wow," because we was in a small space, and the double entrance just didn't make a lot of sense with the way it was.
It just wasn't the direction that it could have been, which is where we took it. So So rebranding can be as simple as, just rebranding a couple. Even as a promoter, you could rebrand a few of your gimmicks and a few of your characters that you have built up, rebranding those as well. Tomorrow we're going to get into Gimmick Builder about rebranding characters and gimmicks. But rebranding can be as simple as changing a few gimmicks in your lineup, all the way to a complete overhaul of the whole organization, which sometimes places need. I mean, especially because some organizations change ownership. You don't want to do it all the time. I mean, yeah, you definitely don't want to do it like twice a year, or even
you won't be able to build a brand.
Right, you'll never be able to build that brand up. But building up a brand does require time and a lot of effort into changing the whole idea of what your fans had, or the perception that your fans had of of that one organization. They could have their mind completely flipped around if they just knew that it was a different owner.
So
in the
I mean, because
rebranding.
we've seen it firsthand, and then there's been shows where like that's just never gonna work.
Yeah.
I mean, we was a part of one of those.
Yeah.
That just the guy had the concept. It was SPW. He called it sadistic pro wrestling, and we're like,
yeah,
how is that? That's not going to draw anything that's going to make any kind of money.
Not here in the South.
Not here in the South. I mean, that may work up north, out west. Let us know. Let us know what in the South. It's all about family oriented.
Right.
So you won't go to too many shows where you have a lot of cussing and stuff like that. But let us know what it's like. Up north and out west and stuff like that, and out in the Midwest, and tell us what y'all think and what y'all's kind of, if it's more hardcore out there, if it's more just whatever, just let us know. But I mean, you honestly, you need to take a look back and decide if your sales isn't there, your attendance isn't there, your wrestlers isn't there, then you might want to take an honest look and be like, you know what, maybe it's time for a change. Maybe we need to head in this direction versus where we're at. And you can see some great improvements.
And one thing you just mentioned is your wrestlers aren't there. That's a big key to rebranding, is if you rebrand, then you need to look at your lineup and who you have working for you and say, I hate to say it, but you're going to have to break some hearts and hopefully people understand that it's the business and that you're doing this for the improvement. Maybe you drop some of your old school workers and you go with a new school look with high flyers and things, or you drop your high flyers and you go with a hardcore, if that's the way you're
depending on where you're at.
Even in the South, if you want to try a hardcore, if you're really getting down in attendance with your family-oriented thing, try a hardcore thing and see if it works out,
Yeah, don't be afraid to experiment.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it may come down to as simple as you need to change bookers.
Oh, yeah.
Because, there's some shows and, that we've seen that, like, the booking is kind of, like, just old. Like, you can tell it's an old-minded, old school kind of stuff versus, like, a lot of the stuff that's going on nowadays. So, it may just be as simple as changing that. So, I don't have anything else.
Yeah, so just remember that, rebranding is, don't be afraid of it, is where we really, when we came up with the idea to talk about this, is we don't want people to be afraid of rebranding, because rebranding just means that you're bringing something new to your organization. So, so just remember, you can start out real small, or you could just go all out and rebrand the whole organization. So, that's pretty much it for Promotion Builder. Tomorrow we're going to talk about Gimmick Builder and rebranding your gimmicks and things like that. So, tune in tomorrow for that. Yeah? All right.